So I got to ask, at what moment did you realize that like, if we don't split roles, this could be a hobby forever?
I think it's interesting because we've been doing this since 2012. And so we started on YouTube, long form, never really blew up. But even throughout that process, we get to watch a lot of other people get very large, make a lot of mistakes, and know what to not do. And throughout that time, we also met a lot of people in the film industry, in the social media industry, in the YouTube industry that gave us a lot of, I think, leverage into how to leverage our following so that when we did start growing, especially on short form, it was an incredible way for us to then kind of bank off other people's mistakes in order to know how to succeed. And from that time, Paul has always been the more creative one. Paul got a degree in theater, and then I got a whole master's in business and organizational development. And throughout that time, we learned that there was a lot of, I think, differences in who we were, but then also where we could really thrive. So I did take over a lot of the negotiation. And as soon as we got to a place where we were able to leverage anything, I started the negotiation tactics that I knew. And Paul really handled most of the video editing. Now, we both are very, very creative in the creative side of it because we do a lot of dance and we're both professional dancers. And so with that, we both have a lot to say about what happens in the dancing that we do, and a lot. We bicker most during our choreography or rehearsals, but in all of that, Paul still does have, I think, a creative edge in the storytelling elements.
I do think also, even early on, I remember we were daily vlogging at a time, and it was 2 years straight. We killed ourselves thinking this was the way to do it. It was in the Casey Neistat era of 2016, 2017, 2018, and it was brutal. And I was sleeping about 4 hours every night trying to get these editing. I was working full time in the production world of movie making and commercial advertising. And so working 8 hours a day, 4 hours of filming, 4 hours of editing, 4 hours of sleeping, and you were right back at the office. And it was absolutely brutal. But in that, we learned a lot of cool skills. And also in that, we kind of established a lot of roles out of necessity, out of keeping us alive. So this was right after Luke graduated with his master's. It was kind of during the final push of your master's. And then as we moved into this daily vlogging movement situation, Luke, he would drive me everywhere because every time we'd get in the car, I'd pull a laptop out and start editing. And he would cook the meals and keep me alive.
Communicate with everyone. Communication.
It was Luke.
It was me. And then anything I needed to know, email, anything that Paul needed to know was gone through me. And then everything else was pretty much Paul editing.
So I would say
the time.
A lot of our roles came from that era of like establishing the mission and the format at which we created. And yes, like you said, a lot of our creating is shared in the sense of the choreography and the dancing and the filming. But then once it gets out of that filming, it is kind of in my court again, and suddenly becomes a lot more of my job to establish the look and the feel and what we're doing with it. Where Luke, especially now that we've hired out help because we could not keep up with the content creation side of it and the negotiations because we were sitting 8 hours a day behind a computer trying to negotiate brands and stuff. So we hired help as a manager to help us out. And that has revolutionized Luke's role. And so Luke, right after we hired,
first, I mean, it was hard because I was like, well, now what do I do? Like that was my job.
Where's my place in this
and
world?
So now it is like we're like a tiny little company, and it is like you kind of jump through what you get to do. And that's like one thing that's, I think, beautiful about leverage. You find new things that you can do. Again, looking for what needs to be done and doing it. For Paul, a lot of his stuff he was overthinking all these beautiful edits for dance videos. And I was like, well, he hates doing these like little vloggy style, like, let's go get food or let's go get ramen videos. Like, I can do that. So I just started editing and learning my own, kind of putting my own voice behind things. And it became very evident who was in our, just us, became evident who was editing which thing because it had a very casual tone or it had a very polished tone, no matter what we did. And then Paul also had to kind of tone back his professional, and because AI is getting so good that Paul's stuff started looking like AI, and we're like, well, you're putting a lot of time and effort into something that other people are putting 10 seconds into. So
it still does, and I need to work on
we got to pull back, make it look a little more real, casual.
Yeah,
but with that, I think we both taught each other.
Rub some dirt on it every once in a while.
Rub and that we've both learned more about our own creative skills and our own creative storytelling and how we want to bring that to the table. So my role now is a little less negotiation there still is a lot of negotiation happening, but more communication with our manager and things like that. But now a lot of it is in communication. Again, we go back to communication and editing, but there is quite a bit of, right now, this is tax season, it's January. So have spent the entire last 2 weeks just doing taxes. So
we changed tax professionals, so that's also been quite the challenge.
But again, hire the right people to do the job.
Yes.
Once you get them set up, you don't have to do anything. That's the goal anyway. Again, like we're leveraging tax professionals and getting them set up. We have a video editor to do our long form because we really want to break into long form, especially on YouTube.
Our channel's very old, and we've obviously done it since like 2012. And I think in some ways we need to probably take a pretty major look at either rebranding that channel into something brand new, altogether. Like a new channel altogether, just to try to break into that market. And we're struggling with even just like the thought of that. But in my brain, it's like there's really no other choice. But
I just took that leap. I just took that leap
tough,
myself.
Man.
It was primarily real estate, and I had some start-stop moments in that whole journey in my on that YouTube page and that channel, and then started the Leverage Lounge podcast. And about a few episodes in, I started realizing that like it wasn't gaining the traction that I was hoping that it would. I sat with my SEO manager, and I was like, "Man, what do you think is going on?" And had a couple conversations with ChatGPT, leveraging AI.
Oh yeah.
What we came down to is that like the channel was old, the algorithm was confused.
Yeah, right. It didn't know where to
put you.
Yeah,
it's like, are you real estate or are you a podcast? Like, what
business podcast? Are you real estate? Are you what's going on? And are you going to be true to this? Like, are you going to continue to post? Are you going to post consistently? Like, can we trust you to keep our viewers on the platform?
That's its main concern is, are you keeping people on the platform? And if you are, then it'll push you out. And then if not, that's the hard part. And for us too, I think that is a good thing that we need to be considering is, do we need to rebrand an entirely new account? But then our biggest fear, and is we've done it before. 2023, we started the year with a brand new channel. YouTube did a hostile takeover of the account and said, "You're faking to be these other boys, that you're not them." And we're like, "No, we are them." Like that's
so they deleted it like immediately. Like, it was like day 3.
Yeah, they thought we were reusing.
Now there is a way around this.
They thought it was
a completely different account. It was a completely different
somebody
email address.
ripping videos. Even though we did ask some YouTube professionals, we had some people that we were able to get in contact with. So never lose that email.
Well, I think there's some lessons in there, but as you're sharing it, like people are listening and they're like, okay, I kind of know what not to do. Or a lot of people are in the same boat, trying to figure out what to do with their brand. What is next with where they are? And you guys have partnered with some recognizable brands like Lug.
Oh yeah,
we love Lug. I love Lug. Never quite had met somebody with that level of what they've been doing, and so that was such a fun way to partner with them. We choreograph for, and then we send them to Disney World, and they dance right outside downtown Disney. So they did that in November, which is so fun. But we partnered with Lug to gift all the kids going on that trip a bag. Well, eventually, they actually upped it to 3 bags. Each kid got 3 bags.
Yeah, I saw that.
Crazy. That was crazy.
Wild.
But it was so much fun that we could leverage, in a sense, our influence to work alongside such a notable brand to give back to these kids who we give so much to every week, it was just such a, I didn't make any monetary value from that. Like there's no monetary value that comes back to me, but it doesn't matter because we were able to leverage what we did.
Those kids were so excited as they were opening those bags. Like I saw the content and the bag reveals. And what has to be true before you say yes to a deal? How do you know who you're going to partner with?
Budget. If the budget isn't there, I won't say. We won't talk.
But also, there is a level of like, I think,
usability.
Here's the deal. We knew that if we could show up and really prove ourselves as a brand, that the brand would buy it off of us in order to use it as an ad, or they would have to pay us more to boost it as an ad.
What's a behind the scenes moment that would surprise most of your followers?
The moment we fight.
Yeah, people don't.
I think people don't realize that we fight.
Was there ever a video that like went viral and actually made your life harder?
Honestly, the one you're talking about, the Dancing in the Rain in New York, the only controversial thing about that one is that everyone thought it was AI.
No, we did never have anything like that. That would be a good problem to have. I would love that.
That would be a good problem. That's what we call champagne problems.
Champagne problems.
Yes. What's something that brands ask behind the scenes that audiences would never expect?
Oh,
I mean, they generally sometimes don't like your ideas, and that's always hard.
What do your most loyal followers get versus your casual followers?
I think there's a level of authenticity that comes from behind the paywall. I think that we feel a little more comfortable because there's less people there.
If all the platforms disappeared tomorrow, what principle would you rebuild everything on?
I think it would come down to education and joy.